Are you troubled by nagging self-doubt, worries, self-criticism, shame, or feeling not quite good enough? These states can readily be reversed. The Self-Esteem Workbook clearly explains how. Importance of wholesome, quiet self-esteem. The benefits of healthy self-esteem are enormous. Healthy self-esteem provides a secure anchor in the storms of life. In research around the world, it has been found to strongly predict happiness, optimism, and resilience, the ability to persist and even thrive during adversity. Healthy self-esteem is a hallmark of mental health, protecting against depression, anxiety, suicide, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and other stress conditions. For example, at the University of Maryland, Dr. Glenn Schiraldi found that self-esteem correlates with anxiety at nearly 0.80, an unusually high correlation. One who lacks a secure sense of worth is more vulnerable to developing PTSD, and self-esteem must often be restored in the process of recovering from various stress-related conditions. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is a realistic, appreciative opinion of oneself. Realistic means that we honestly see our strengths and weaknesses. Appreciative suggests a quiet gladness for being who we are despite our imperfections. One who possesses healthy self-esteem does not need to boast or compare himself to others, recognizing that all humans have infinite worth as people, although people vary in their market or social worth. How the workbook came to be. Dr. Schiraldi studied under the leading self-esteem researcher in the country, Dr. Morris Rosenberg, in the early 1980s. Dr. Rosenberg had spent his life documenting the harmful effects of low self-esteem. When Dr. Schiraldi asked his mentor how self-esteem can be grown, Dr. Rosenberg was at a loss. So Dr. Schiraldi determined to develop a method to cultivate self-esteem. The Self-Esteem Workbook, 2nd edition 2016, is the outgrowth of the program pioneered at the University of Maryland. The program was rooted in self-esteem skills and was found to improve self-esteem, happiness, optimism, curiosity, depression, anxiety, and anger scores. The foundations of self-esteem. Healthy self-esteem is based on 3 building blocks or foundation stones. 1. Unconditional human worth. 2. Unconditional love. And 3. The ongoing process of growing. Unconditional worth comes with birth. It assumes that every person is worthwhile, worth the time to fulfill his or her potential, possessing every attribute in embryo needed to flourish. Core worth as a person is stable and does not fluctuate with changing circumstances such as health, income, blunders, appearance, or how we are treated by others. Unconditional love is something that we feel toward people, including ourselves, despite our imperfections. It is a decision that we make each day, even when we don't feel like it. It is also a cultivated skill in wanting what is best for the loved one at each moment. If you didn't learn to love from your parents, you can learn to be a good parent to yourself. Whereas unconditional worth is recognized through reason, unconditional love is more an experience of the heart. With a secure base of worth and love, one is free to grow without fear or perfectionism. Growth means applying your strengths to elevate self and others. Human worth is like a seed. Love is the fertilizer for growth. Growth is the unhurried, patient process of coming to flower. The 2016 edition of the Self-Esteem Workbook includes skills related to each of the 3 building blocks, skills that any adult, young adult, or with some simplification, child can master. For example, there are chapters on replacing common thought traps, recognizing and appreciating individual strengths, countering criticism and other deflating events, healing the core self with love, cultivating body appreciation, experiencing love at the heart level, growing self-compassion, forgiving, growing strengths, and experiencing wholesome pleasure. Dr. Kristen Neff, author of Self-Compassion, writes, "Finally, a sane book on how to develop healthy self-esteem. Rather than promoting feeling better than others, this book helps readers to have kindness and compassion for themselves because they are simply human. The sense of unconditional self-worth developed through the exercises in this book will help transform many lives for the better. And respected researcher Dr. Stephen Hopful writes, "The Self-Esteem Workbook is excellent and practical because it is built on a sound scientific base, offers clear recommendations, and comes from and speaks to the heart." The beloved comedian George Burns said that most of the things that make us happy, like health, family, and good name, do not fall into our laps. We have to work at them a little. So it is with self-esteem. Self-esteem is a skill that grows as we practice the many effective, powerful skills described in the Self-Esteem Workbook.